Like and subscribe right now, and you'll have amazing luck for an entire week. Human beings have been getting taller and heavier, which has, in turn, increased obesity-related health problems across the world. Speaking of overweight people, we've had a few extreme examples for the past couple of years, averaging just slightly below half a ton. From the 1,200-pound Manuel Uribe to the 1,000-pound Mayra Rosales, here are some of the fattest people the world has ever seen. Number 10. Manuel Uribe. Mexican-born Uribe received the Guinness World Records recognition as the heaviest man alive in January 2006, weighing in at a staggering 1,235 pounds. At that time, he had made a public plea for help with his condition that had been weighing him down for the past few years. As a teenager, Manuel weighed just over 250 pounds, which, while way higher for someone at that age, didn't affect his life that much. But he reckons it became a problem when he moved to the US, where his electronic repair job didn't afford him much physical exercise. This exceptionally increased his weight to the point it started interfering with various aspects of his life. He would later move back to Mexico after a divorce and spent pretty much most of his time bedbound. Manuel's televised call for help got the Mexican government to appoint a team of professionals who helped him shed off 510 pounds by October 2008. But that was pretty much it. His subsequent weight loss efforts weren't that successful, and he remained bedridden until his death in 2014 from liver failure. Due to his unusually huge size, he was cremated, since getting an ideal coffin was impossible. Number 9. Juan Pedro Franco. In 2017, Juan Pedro from Mexico snatched the title of the world's heaviest person alive with a staggering weight of slightly over 1,300 pounds. Incidentally, it was around the same time that he seriously started to consider losing weight. At the time, he had been to a local healthcare facility for an operation, but due to his extreme weight, doctors couldn't do anything. So they advised him to cut off a few kilos, just enough for a safe operation. After 3 months of strict dieting, he underwent 2 operations, shaving off 550 pounds, just a year after starting the weight loss journey. He lost a few more pounds in the following years, but has never gotten below the 400-pound mark. In 2020, he was in the media again after surviving COVID-19, weighing approximately 460 pounds. Number 8. Paul Jonathan Mason. At his heaviest, UK citizen Paul Jonathan weighed 980 pounds, the highest human weight to ever be recorded in the United Kingdom. As a resident of Ipswich, he worked as a postman but got sacked when he was exposed for stealing cash from letters. From that day on, his life took a major downturn. He was a food addict, which, coupled with his need to escape life's frustrations, pushed him to binge-eating sprees, gobbling up to 20,000 calories per day. That's how his weight shot from 350 pounds in 1989 to the record-setting 980 in the early 2000s, which prompted him to start seeking help. He applied to the National Health Service for gastric bypass surgery, which he got in 2010, enabling him to lose 600 pounds in the 5 years that followed. A few more surgeries to remove excess skin saw him slim down further to a manageable 280 pounds. But this progress was later erased after he moved to the US, where he had fallen in love with Rebecca from Massachusetts. When the two broke up, Paul fell back into his old binge-eating habits, consequently increasing his weight to 500 pounds. The last time he was in the limelight was in 2019, when he planned to return to the UK to claim health benefits for his weight. Number 7. Terry Smith. While obesity poses a real danger due to the various health issues associated with it, Terry Smith's case came with an added twist. In 2010, the Ohio resident was suffering from severe headaches, so the doctors saw it fit for her to have a brain scan to really understand the problem. But at 700 pounds, Terry could neither stand nor roll on her own, and was just too big to fit inside an MRI machine. That was a major turning point for the then 49-year-old who had been bedbound for 3 years. She kickstarted a weight loss journey that would have seen her at least be able to get the much-needed brain scan. At the time, she depended on her husband and daughter for pretty much everything, including personal hygiene. According to Terry herself, the excessive weight set in early on her life, and she was already way over 110 pounds at just 7 years old. And the fact that she didn't put much thought into what she ate made it even worse as she became an adult. It wasn't much of a bother though, as she led a fairly normal life well into her early 30s. This is when she developed severe arthritis in her knees, which confined her to a wheelchair, consequently causing a spike in her weight. Number 6. Robert Earl Hughes. In the 1,000-pound club, US-born Robert remains unique to this day, 6 decades after his death. Despite being 1,070 pounds, he was still able to move around, a remarkable feat that has never been replicated to this day. For that, he holds the title of the heaviest person in human history to walk. He even attended carnivals and fairs and did roadshows, which went a long way in paying his bills. But that doesn't mean he had it easy. By 31 years old, his massive frame had become too strenuous to handle, rendering him unable to walk for anything more than 20 feet. His family would have a 5-foot wide steel chair with them in case he became too exhausted to stand. While on a roadshow in 1958, he succumbed to uremia, a medical condition marked by high levels of urea in the blood. He was down to 1,041 pounds at the time. Number 5. Khalid bin Mohsen Shari. The Saudi national weighed a staggering 1,340 pounds in 2013, making him the heaviest living person at the time and the second heaviest person in human history. Of course, that was just too much weight for a person, which rendered Khalid immobile. The king had to get involved as he ordered the 22-year-old to be brought to the capital, Riyadh, for specialized treatment. Given his weight, everything from hospital beds and trolleys had to be custom-made just for him, and the Saudi Arabian authorities had to use a forklift truck to transport him to the hospital. During his stay at the King Fahd Medical Facility, Khalid was put under a series of dietary and physical programs that tremendously improved his situation. In 2016, 3 years after his treatment started, he had lost a good deal of his weight to the point that he was able to, using a walker, move on his own for the first time in 5 years. A year later, it was reported that he had lost some 1,200 pounds, bringing his weight down to 150 pounds, which restored his normal life. In 2018, he underwent his final surgery to remove the excess skin caused by morbid obesity. Number 4. John Brower Minot. Mr. John is the heaviest man in history, having clocked some 1,400 pounds back in 1978. Looking at his childhood, you can say this was kind of expected because at just 12, he was already tipping the scales at 300 pounds, and by the time he was in his 20s, he had the 500-pound mark. Most of John's weight was due to accumulated body fluid, caused by a condition called generalized edema. Given his extraordinary weight, moving him was quite the task. It took several firemen and a specifically modified stretcher just to transport him from his home to the hospital. At the facility, 2 beds were merged just to support his massive frame, and it took up to 13 people to roll him over if they needed to, say, change his clothes. He spent nearly 2 years at the University of Washington Medical Center in Seattle and lost over 920 pounds, one of the largest weight loss incidences in human history. He was later readmitted barely a year later after doubling his weight. He died 2 years later into his stay at 800 pounds. Number 3. Donna Simpson. Miss Donna was once the world's fattest mother, a title she won in 2007 after giving birth to her second child. At the time, she weighed 530 pounds, but had expressed interest in gaining 500 pounds more to claim the title of the heaviest living woman. Unfortunately, or rather fortunately, she never followed through with this plan. While her weight did shoot up to just over 600 pounds between 2008 and 2010, her progress was cut short the following year after she separated from her husband, Philippe Kouamba. The husband had been a big part of Donna's weight gain, providing both encouragement and running basic errands around the home. The cash for food, on the other hand, came from Donna's subscription website on which a bunch of men paid to watch her do mundane stuff like eating and measuring her waist. After the separation, she moved to Akron, Ohio, where she started dieting to bring down her weight to 370 pounds.
Now it's time for today's best pick.
Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber, so if you come across a photo online and wanted more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it in a future video. Number 2. Michael Hibranco. Hibranco was quite a popular figure in the morbid obesity world, having been featured on some of the biggest television shows like The Oprah Winfrey Show, Wogan, and The Howard Stern Show. He was also recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records for the highest recorded weight loss in 1990 after going from 906 pounds to 200 pounds in 19 months. Unfortunately though, he would later go back to his old self, gaining even more pounds than he had lost. 7 years after his incredible weight loss journey, he weighed a solid 1,000 pounds, making him the heaviest person at the time. He'd go on to gain another 100 pounds 2 years later, but he underwent another weight loss program that saw him drop to just under 460 pounds. His weight hovered around this mark until his demise on July 25, 2013. Michael's weight struggles were part of pretty much his entire life, as he recounted weighing 300 pounds by the time he was 15. Naturally, that came with a good deal of stigma, which only pushed him further into the Badlands. His age mates would make fun of him, so he used eating as a coping mechanism.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works.
Number 1. Mayra Rosales. Half-Ton Killer was the nickname Mayra Rosales was given in 2008 after she was accused of killing her sister's 2-year-old son. At the time, she weighed 1,036 pounds and had pretty much lost the will to live. This led her to confess to the killing, as she figured spending the rest of her life in prison wasn't that different from what she was used to. She later recanted her statements, choosing to instead testify against her sister, who was the actual culprit. This was after an autopsy revealed the injuries that the boy suffered were more likely caused by reputed abuse rather than a one-off accident, as Mayra had claimed. With that out of the way, she dived deep into the weight loss world, and with the help of a specialist in Houston, cut off about 100 pounds in the first week alone. This was followed by a couple of surgeries to remove both tumors and excess skin. She kept to a rigorous high-protein diet that saw her come down to 200 pounds in about 5 years. According to Mayra herself, the push to lose the extra pounds came with the sentencing of her sister. As much as she wanted to look after her sister's kids, her obesity was a huge hindrance, so she decided to do something about it.